Right. Hello, everyone. It's Nova here, the relationship change catalyst. And some people call me the chief wise wife, maybe because of this little handsome guy at this side of me. I'm really excited to be doing this blab along with some, I don't know if I should call them stalwarts, phenomenal people in their own right. And I'll be introducing them soon, but let me just tell you a bit about me for those who don't know. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a best-selling author, speaker, businesswoman, and I really enjoy, I would say, juggling the three of them because I am a full-time mom and doing all the other bits alongside it. And it's exciting, it's challenging, but it's exciting, especially when I see the things that I put my hands to that it comes through and I could reap the rewards. Yeah, that's the exciting bit. So it's just as sweet as giving birth to, for me when it comes to business. But my main focus is really relationships because I believe that first of all, in life, we must have relationships with other people if we are to survive and thrive and not go into, I don't know, mental depression or something. And then when it comes to really living a fulfilled and more abundant life, a lot of us choose to have a life partner with us and to get married. And I am happily married, but years ago, I was in an abusive relationship, and my experience in that relationship and having to leave that relationship and then coming into such a wonderful one and helping to enhance it even more has made me really passionate about seeing other people experience the joy, love, and fulfillment that comes with being in a committed and loving relationship. And so I've dedicated really the rest of my life to, besides being a loving wife and mom, helping as much people as possible to live the fulfilled and abundant life that they could live. So on my, well, I don't know how people see it, but on my right, or I'll save the best for last, my secret weapon. Yes. We have Shanti Budan, who is a relationship expert as well. And Shanti, you want to just share a bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. Well, I am a cognitive behavior therapist, and I've been working in mental health for about 26 years now. But I've worked with people with mild, moderate, and severe mental illness. But at the moment, working with people with mild to moderate illness, specifically looking at increasing their confidence, probably dealing with things like obsessive compulsive disorder, PTSD, depression and anxiety. At the moment, I'm working with the Tavistock to look at being an advanced practitioner with couples. So I work with mental illness really in a general way. Locally, so I have a very busy schedule. I'm a mom, and I have a husband I've known him for 26 years, been married for 20 years this year. So we're very happy marriage. So I'm really happy to be partnering with you to do some work with my Honey and Money.
Yes. Cool.
Conference. So that's really exciting.
Yes.
And I've done work as well with women, increasing confidence with women. So I've done a course which is now on sale. So we're quite excited about that as well. I partnered up with Dr. Oge Choku, and we've done that. So that's really exciting. Yeah. But yes, passion really is couples and increasing confidence in people generally.
Yeah, good. Right. Really excited to have you here. And Lady Vanessa, the chief of them all. Yeah. You want to introduce yourself and just share a bit about what you do. And you could even say how we met as well.
Okay, certainly will. I am Vanessa McLean. They call me the Confident Speaker Coach. And before I go any further, I want to make sure that you can hear me because I had problems hearing Shanti. So I don't want to be
Okay. Yeah,
speaking
we
and
could
you
hear
can't
you,
hear
and we
me.
heard Shanti as well.
Okay, I had problems. So I just wanted to be sure that everything's clear. So I'm a Confident Speaker Coach. And one of the things that I love to do is I love to help people find that story that changes not only their lives, but changes anybody else's life that they come in contact with. And that's how I do it through speaking. Speaking is my passion. Speaking wasn't my passion, but I had to overcome the fear. And now that I've overcome the fear, I'm so happy that I can help people to live the life that they choose to live. Not only live the life that they choose to live, but make money. And that's one of the big things that we're all about today, finding that revenue to create the lifestyle that we desire. I met Norva in 2014. I happen to be one of Les Brown's platinum speakers, and I had the opportunity of opening up on 24 Hours of Power. And it was on that morning that Norva discovered me. And it was a great union because since then, we've had the pleasure to work together. I've coached Norva and I've seen her grow, and I'm just so excited at the opportunity that she's now got to present to the world My Honey and the Money. And I'm sure people are going to be bowled over by her stories, the way she tells her stories, the way she connects with people. And of course, Saji, her wonderful, adoring husband as well. Will be there. But Norva, Norva is an amazing woman. So Norva, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of My Honey and the Money, because those two together will change the world. Thank you, Norva. One thing I didn't say, let me just say, I'm also a #1 best-selling author of Fight for Your Dreams, The Power of Never Giving Up, which I've co-authored with Les Brown. And I also feature in a documentary movie, The Head Ladies in Charge.
Good, nice. And my secret weapon to the side here, the only man on right now, hopefully that would change before the night is up. I should say we'll be on for 45 minutes thereabout, and we would really love if people feel free to come in and as the event continues. But as I said, I was saving the best for last. The thing is, in life, we go through ups, downs, and some sideways. And for me, as I said, I was in an abusive relationship before. And when you've experienced that sort of things, you kind of build a barrier and find it difficult sometimes to allow people to come into your life because you're afraid that they would do the same thing again. But then sometimes some people could make it easier for you to accept them into your life. And my husband, Dr. Saji Abiona, did just that. He has such a loving, warm personality that by the time we met a long time ago, it's a long story. And if I talk about it now, it would take too long. But from the time we started speaking to each other, it was just so easy to converse with him. And we became best friends in no time at all. And the rest is history. So introduce yourself, sweetie.
Well, what a build-up.
No pressure.
My name is Dr. Saji Abiona, and I am a medical professional. I work in pediatrics, that's with children, but mainly in the community, so looking at children from a sort of developmental perspective. And it's such an honor and a huge pride to be sat here sort of interacting with the world. This is actually my very first blab. So it's a double honor in that respect. And to be sitting there, this wonderful woman who's putting together this great workshop, My Honey and Money. And I'm really looking forward to be, part of the discussion tonight, and also to, perhaps bring a man's perspective, which will feature very much on the day as well.
Yeah.
It's a huge privilege to be here.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much. Thanks. So I'll share a brief bit now about My Honey and Money, and then I'll share a little bit more at the end. So we've been talking about the My Honey and Money Marriage Seminar, which is coming up live in London on the 9th of July. And we put this blab together to give people more information about that event, but also to give people the opportunity to just ask questions and to learn a little bit more about what we do and what we have seen over the years in terms of relationships and self-esteem and just the importance of couples working together. And so the event, as I said, is in London, but I opened up the blab and invited people internationally just because I know relationship, even though I would love to have people join us for the event in London, and I don't mind even if you come from the US, that's fine. I'll be happy to welcome you. But relationship itself, and speaking about relationship, I want to give people the opportunity anytime I have the chance to just come and share and open and for us to learn and grow together as individuals. So yes, that's a bit about the event. Please, Vanessa, Soji, and Shanti, feel free to chime in if you feel I've left anything out. Yeah, because yeah, so anyway, I've seen more people have joined, so it's really nice to have, I could see Sonia's on. Thanks for joining us, Sonia, and you could feel free to join the seat when you're ready, just chime in. But I want to start off with just talking about one of the big myths that I've seen in a lot of relationships, and I believe it's that a lot of people go with the golden rule, which is try to do unto their spouse as they would want done unto them. However, I believe when it comes to relationship, that does not work. It could work in the wider world in terms of treating people kindly, treating them with love and respect, which that is important. However, when it comes to really trying to develop a relationship with your spouse that would last a lifetime, you really need to take the time to get to know your spouse so that you could offer to them the things that they want and not what you believe. Because of course, we come with our own notions and understanding that we have based on the background that we're coming from. So what we've learned from growing up, and many people get into relationships, they haven't even been living with a mom and dad. So that puts them even on it's even more difficult for them when they haven't had that sort of role models. Having said that, for those who grow up with a mom and dad, that doesn't mean that automatically you would have a great relationship. But a lot of people tend to think that that's what would happen. And so they don't put aside time and money and effort to develop their relationship, because each relationship is unique. But I believe that, as I said, I wouldn't even call it the golden rule. I would call that now the platinum rule for relationship, which is do unto your spouse as they want to be done unto. Shanti or Vanessa, what do you all think? Or even Saji?
I think it's part of talking about expectations when you go into a relationship, and it draws from sometimes the difference between men and women. Someone's coming in. It draws from this difference between men and women, what our expectations are within a relationship. And I think I identify with that, because on some fronts people see as important. Hello, Sonia.
Hi.
As very important to do unto others as you want others to do unto you. But it's actually quite important to know what their expectations are so that you can meet their expectations. Because at the end of the day, that's who you want to satisfy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hi, Sonia. Welcome, and thanks for joining the seat. You want to just share a little bit about who you are and how we met?
Yes, I would love to. And I'm going to be probably jumping on and off a couple times because we're out in the car, but I have a couple minutes to jump on and say hello. I found Norva through a wonderful networking group, through Kimber Luna's awesome group. And it was a total godsend. And I'll make it very short. It's a long story, but She was one of those Kairos appointments in my life that was there at exactly the right time. And I'm not going to get emotional. Yes, I am going to get emotional. I would say that she is directly responsible for the fact that my husband and I just came from our counseling appointment today. We are working actively on our marriage, and our family, and that door started to open. Even the awareness of the need for that door to start to open did not come about until I started reading her book and had just an awakening. And we're so grateful. And if I could be there, oh my goodness, I would be there in a heartbeat. If you have any way to get there, go. She has so much material on her pinky. Her pinky is full of information, like just drinking from a fire hose. I know that it's going to be fabulous. So yes, I would love to be there.
Thank you so much. Thanks for chiming in. Yeah, thanks. And
Absolutely.
it was really nice meeting you. And as you said, the way we met as well was casual, but it was a Kairos moment because we hit it off, and the rest is history. We've moved from not just talking about relationship stuff, but I look at you as my friend now, and that's important to me. So
Likewise.
feel free to chime in what your thoughts are as well. But Shanti and Vanessa, I don't know if you all wanted to say anything about the platinum rule.
I think it's a good connection to make, a psychological connection between how our parents did relationships and what we see as a model for relationships. And actually, there's always room to learn, always room. And I think this is what this conference is about, is giving people additional resources to learn, a different place to pick up more information, because we just don't learn. We learn from our parents the things they did well and the things that they didn't do so well, but we don't really have any more learning happening. So it's a really good idea to invest in the time in that kind of learning, because the learning doesn't come from anywhere else. You just keep tapping into that resource, and that resource could be very negative, or it could be, if it's very positive, then of course, you're doing well. Not so positive, then it becomes a need.
Yes. And what you're saying is so true, Shanti. And a lot of times, even though we've seen positive things from others, we assume that just because we've seen it, it is ingrained in us and we know how to do it. But each relationship is unique. And so the relationship that your mom and dad has is not the same relationship that you would have with your spouse. And so you have to really be prepared to learn about that person. I call it going pro as a wife and as a husband. And that is looking at your relationship, the problems, the issues in your relationship. Stop seeing them as a problem and start seeing it as a project. But you have to understand that if you are the only one working on your relationship, then it's your project. And so you can't force it on your spouse. You have to do things, and hopefully they will begin to see what you are doing and begin to appreciate it. Having said that, if as you're doing it, you realize that that person is really, you're trying, you're pushing and doing everything, and they are just not paying attention or not interested, then you have to have another conversation. I say realistically, give it about 6 months to a year, just you working on that project. Because the thing is, when it comes to a project, we want our project to succeed. If you're building a house, you want at the end of the day to have a house to walk into. You don't want, but when you see it as a problem, then you start treating it differently. You don't care. You would find it easier to go and speak your relationship than trying to build the relationship. So you call doom and gloom when there might even be hope in that relationship. So
I would commend Sonia. A big cheers for you for taking on that project. I mean, a fulfilling relationship is such a rich source of comfort in life, a rich source of. It's just one of the things that you can get spiritual about, because it can be so deep and fulfilling in life. So it's it's a really good thing to invest, like you are investing. Seeing a counselor, talking about it, focusing on it, like Nova said, as a project.
Yes.
Really good.
I could see somebody else has joined us, or the call has dropped. Or somebody came on Siba. I'm not sure. It could be or Saba, sorry. Yeah. Saba that I know, but I'm not sure who it is.
Can I just make a point?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there are so many things in life that the general principle is actually the more you invest and the more you put in, the better the rewards that you get out. And the same thing will go for a relationship, so that even coming on My Honey and Money, it's about sort of taking your relationship to the next level. And you don't have to be having a difficult time. You could just be at a point where actually I want to move, I want us to move on in our relationship. I want for our relationship to be enriched. And I think, in our relationship, that's an ongoing process. That's a process where we actually say, what are 5 things that, I would change about, you would change about me, that I would change about you. And we have a discussion about how we can move our relationship forward. And I think this is an amazing platform to be able to do that, so that, not just for those that, the relationship is going through a difficult patch at the moment, that's important as well. But also for individuals who are feeling, actually, my relationship's good, but it can be better. And everybody on the face of the earth can say that. I'm yet to meet someone with a perfect relationship. There are people who are close to it, but with a perfect relationship, there's always room for improvement and for closeness and for openness and for, honesty within a relationship.
In fact, one of the things that you touched on, which you should explain a little bit more, the 5 things, which we started when on our first anniversary, and we do it. So just share a little bit about what we do.
All right. Well, one of our traditions as a couple, as a married couple, is right from sort of year 2 of our marriage is first anniversary is actually to take some time out, often without the distractions of family, go away, have a pampering sort of time away. But in the midst of that, have a session where we actually are sort of focusing on what are 5 things about me that you would like to change, or would you like to see changed? And I then write, what are 5 things about you that I would like to see changed? And
then don't forget the 5. We also write 5 things that we love, and really appreciate about each other. And that list has been changing over the years. In fact, now we really struggle with the negative things. Every year, like, what can I think of? It's silly things now. It's like, you take too long to put your shoe on. Okay, let's put that, because we want to be here before 5. So it's really, and it's just as we're saying, it's developing what works for you, what works with you and your spouse. Sonia, do you want to say anything about that?
Yes. I see Brooke waving from the back seat. But yes, absolutely. And my honey is over here driving, saying hello. So I think we just talked about that today, actually, about the correlation between you get out what you put in. If you look at something as valuable, you're going to reap the benefit only when you're willing to put in the work. And for me, that's, I'm a researcher, so it's not hard for me to get into a reading thing or go online and look for the answers I want to find, or go to the dictionary or wherever. But for my husband and my daughter, they're both very kinetic. So I get to now figure out ways to change that up and create more kinetic games for us to, so that we can work together more effectively. Like we're going to work on a deck today as a way to earn some money for our camping trip. And that's a really great team building thing for our family because we can work together in a physical way. And, you know, on my end, I have to just make sure, okay, am I doing my part of the communication? Which for me sometimes means holding my tongue. Sometimes it means saying less and letting my actions speak. But the investment part, I know as a kid, I didn't like school, but now as an adult, I love school and I love learning. And I'm so convinced that you really, really do. So when you think about something like this, you can look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow, or you can look at it as I'm going to school for the day. I would be like, I'm going to go grow and learn and get some new tools to put in my tool bag so that I have more ways to continue the work, you know, because you're going to reap the benefit.
That's a really important point though, Nova. I think sometimes in couples, it's so easy for the other person to look at you and criticize you and for you to criticize them. But you've done something different, Sonia. You're looking at yourself and you're beginning to make some changes in you to affect change in him. And so, you know, sometimes if you zip a little bit, it works, isn't it? And
there's a famous saying by Jim Rohn, which is, if I would change, then everything would change. And I truly believe in that. Most of the times when we look at anything that's happening in our lives and around us, people, first of all, people do to us what we allow them to. And so you need to change anyway. If people are doing things that is not helping you to grow, you need to change in that you need to let them know, I'm not going to allow that anymore. That in itself is a change. But then if you want your relationship to go further, you have to stop believing that because you've gotten into the relationship that you are now perfect. And that's a mindset that a lot of us have, because all of a sudden we blame our spouse for everything that goes wrong. And we don't stop to see that a lot of times we are doing things that might be proven. Now, don't get me wrong. Everything that we do, we have to take 100% responsibility for our actions. And our action is different. Even if you get angry, about anything, just being angry in itself is not a big issue. Your reaction, because you're angry, is what causes a lot of things to go awry in the relationship, because your spouse could see it as you overreacting, or as you not caring, or as you just cussing them out. Some people just go to the far line of using up, just extremely violent and stuff. And so that has nothing to do with you being angry. It has all to do with you not having self-control. And so you need to be able to, you have to be willing to change if that is to improve, and your communication with your spouse, especially when things are not going your way, comes up. You know, 100%. On the topic of unmet expectation, and before I say that, I've seen a few other people have joined us, and please feel free to call in, and I'll be happy to add you to the discussion so that you could chime in about your experience. And just is really encouraging and supporting each other and giving you the opportunity to ask any questions that you have as well. Vanessa, I can see that you're on, but you're not, you might be having problems coming back onto the call. So the seat is open for anybody who wants to come in. But we were talking before about unmet expectation. And a lot of times, as Shanti was saying, and we were all agreeing, you're looking at things just based on what your family has said. But another thing that we do is we assume that what we're thinking, that our spouse already knows. And we're not expressing the way we feel. And sometimes if we're expressing the way we feel, we're not expressing it in a way that it gets through to our spouse. So for example, if I say to if I'm annoyed with Soji and I say to him, I'm not happy with what you did, I could say it like that, or I could say, you understand what I mean? From the time you go to that sort of aggression, with his personality, he would just shut down. And so he is kind of like, you know what, let me take a step back and cool down a bit before this goes up. And normally my personality would be like, no, we're going to discuss it now. Yeah. Let's just trash it out. And at the end of the day, we'll be happy in the end. But
you guys are the opposite of my husband and I. And that's one of my relationship goals, is to learn how to fight clean, not mean. And for me, mean isn't usually yelling and blowing up. Mean for me is getting cold and withdrawn and shut down. And so I have to be really conscious, because that interpretation from my spouse is very different. And that's something I learned back learning love and respect. I learned that. I was like, ooh, ooh. So, I went from feeling like, oh, I'm the winner in this because I can keep my cool, to going, sometimes I'm the aggressor by keeping my cool and not actually satisfying what he needs in that moment. And that was a valuable lesson for me.
And that's not something that comes naturally. And I think we're very similar personality-wise. And that's something that, over the years I have learned, and I suppose in many ways still learning, to know the point in which I need to respond to my wife's needs, rather than just retreat and have that feeling of, righteous indignation, as in I'm the right in this. I'm not raising my voice, therefore there's no issue. But actually, there is a way to open the discussion and to talk about what needs to be done, rather than climbing up. And I've learned that actually her expectation is different to mine during a disagreement. So trying to make positive steps would be actually going softly, yes, but actually addressing the issue rather than running away from it entirely.
Yeah. Because a lot of times what tends to happen is the more quiet, reserved, or passive person would hold everything in, and then the aggressive person would say everything else except the issue. You always this, and you every time I talk to you, and you're not addressing what the meat of the matter at that point in time. What is happening in this situation? Shanti, you want to say something?
Well, in therapy, when we treat couples, we prefer an arguing couple than a couple that's silent, because at least you're communicating when you're arguing, and we can tell what's going on with either partner. But if you're silent, then there's a whole lot of information that we are certainly not aware of that you think we are. Or you think everybody knows what the problem is. And a lot of times clients would say it, and it would be totally different from what we thought. So we prefer arguing couples to treat.
That makes sense now. That makes sense. Our therapist really likes us. He gets a lot of information from us, so he likes that.
No, I can't see because of the mic. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just saying to Soji to read some of the things. I have my big mic just in front. I don't know if you can see it. So I can't see what people are writing at the side.
Okay.
So Soji would.
So we've had some comments in from SGB Consultancy saying you never stop learning in relationships and life. Which is so true. And Vanessa is also sort of written in to say address the issues rather than run away from them. And Ashraf 9999 is saying I'm the silent type, unfortunately. I can identify with you, Ashraf.
But even the silent type can speak softly and say.
Silence speaks volumes.
You know, Go
Oh,
ahead.
yes, it does.
No, please go ahead.
The other thing, oh, go ahead, Norva. The other thing I'm learning now is, for me, I'm kind of reverse of probably most couples in that I didn't get married until I was 42. And I, being that researcher, I've read about marriage and relationships, especially from a Christian perspective, for years. I mean, I used to facilitate groups talking about, how can we do this right? So for me, it was kind of a pride thing too, to be like, oh, wow, I know all this, but to translate it into real action is important. And the other piece that I'm learning too is mindset is critical, because you can get so hung up on, well, I can't. Our therapist gave us an assignment to have a weekend away, which we can't financially do. And he works every weekend, but I'm going to find a way to put my creative thinking cap on and say, even if we have to take the tent to somebody's backyard and stay there for the weekend while he's on call, his assignment was a good assignment to get us out of our normal groove. And so sometimes that is just that mindset. Instead of saying, oh, we can't afford it, he's working, I'm going to go, how can we? And that, I think, that's sometimes all that's necessary is a can do.
That brings
instead of a can't
me
do.
to a really great point that I was thinking about actually. And that is, a lot of times when we get married, we forget that we need to consider our relationship goals. What do we want to accomplish as a couple? Most people don't even plan. They don't think about those things. Because of the passion that they feel for their spouse, they believe that it would work till death us do part. And that's not the case. You have to really find the common ground, not just sexual connections. Hi. But the things that you want to accomplish in life, are you and your spouse on the same page when it comes to those? Number of children that you would like to have with your spouse, is your spouse on the same page with that? There's some people who one person wants to have 4 children and the other person wants to have no children. And then if both of you want to have 4 children and you end up having none, or your wife is the one who is what do you call it, infertile, it's on the husband's side, how do you all deal with that? So if you can't get past the passion, then you're setting yourself up for when issues creep up in your relationship. You don't know how to address them because you didn't start off that way. And it's always good to start off the way we mean to continue.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Shanti, you want to say anything about that, or?
Well, I was just thinking about conflicts with couples, and conflict is not something that we can avoid ever. I think you could be the happiest couple, and I don't know if you know John Gottman. He did lots of longitudinal studies on couples, and one of the indicators for a long and happy marriage is not conflict. And you would think that couples who conflict all the time get divorced. But actually, couples who have conflict but are able to resolve conflict even in the early stages of marriage are the couples that stay together for long periods of time. And he did really longitudinal studies, 20-year studies.
Wow.
People in these who are now much later on in their married life. And it's not about conflict as such, it's about how you resolve conflict.
Yeah.
Fast you're resolve conflict. So you might hate the washing up being left while you go to sleep and get up in the morning facing all this washing up. And he might the be done, but it's not about how you compromise. So it's interesting with conflict.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I'm just charging the laptop, putting it to charge.
Say that again, Shanti.
It's interesting that with conflict, it's about the resolution of conflict rather than actually having conflict. Conflict is a healthy thing in marriage because two people come together, they will always disagree on something at some point. And I think happy marriages, I don't know if we use your marriage as a yardstick, I'm sure you have some kind of conflict every week, but just you're able to recognize it and deal with it in, I don't know, half an hour or so, and then you don't see it as a conflict.
Yeah.
John also said that happy couples have 20 good things happen to thing. Divorcing couples have 0.8 happen to. So it's a really interesting statistic.
Yeah. I mean, before, when we were more aggressive and passive aggressive in the relationship, we used to call it conflict. Now I call it a difference in opinion, because we've learned it all starts there, and then the way you react is what leads to it going into full-blown conflict. So try to deal with it before it gets to that point. Well, I think we do a good job at that now, but it did take time, and really being, as Sonia and Shanti was saying, being willing to be honest that I do not know everything. I am not perfect in this relationship, and I need to learn and grow. And once you come with that sort of mindset, then, and you're willing to invest in learning what it takes to be a good spouse, and you're willing to, as I say, go pro, which is to really offer to your partner, even when you are not getting from your partner what you want, but saying to them what you would like, and whether they do it or not, being willing to be the kind of person that if your relationship should come to an end, your spouse should feel like, you know what, I really let a good thing go. You shouldn't be thinking good riddance. That's the worst thing ever. It means that you really didn't put everything into making a relationship last. I'm giving a last call for anybody who wants to join the hot seat and just come in and say something, because we'll be wrapping up I'll go for another 10 minutes and then we'll wrap things up.
I was just gonna say, I think partly echoing some of the comments that we've had, one from Vanessa again, saying about open communication is a vital ingredient to an harmonious relationship. And I think it goes to the heart also what you were saying, Shanti, about it's not about how conflict or the difference in opinion, it's about how you deal with it. And in a sense, actually going from the mindset that actually we deal with this as quickly as we can, as openly as we can, is actually quite a good tenet to go by, because often some of us have a personality where we hold on to things. You know, it might be the smallest thing that happens, but we hold on to it. And one thing I've learned in relationship, which, you know, didn't come naturally, but I've learned in relationship, is that the more you do that, the worse it gets. And actually having a mindset of, let's deal with this, let's not sort of let this fester, actually has been very, very helpful. Doesn't come naturally, but it has been helpful.
Well, look who we have here, another relationship guru, the mother herself. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Hi. You can share as you feel. Let's say who you are. I know you. You're my business partner.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia Gray. I've been really listening to this conversation. It's really enlightening in regards to relationships, because I feel myself that when you're in a relationship, communication is key and paramount within that. But it's the level of communication that you give and what that communication is that counts, rather than you can communicate on a negative or you can communicate on a positive. Yep. And I believe that you always need to try and have a balance in between. So it's always good to have that line of communication open. And if you can't feel that you can communicate verbally, write down your thoughts. Is another way of doing it.
That's good.
Yeah. You should tell them when it comes to relationship, the area that you specialize in, Sophia, because that's important as well.
All right. So the area that I actually specialize in is the sexual element of it. So I keep people motivated sexually, keeping them motivated in the relationship, and keeping that relationship, that romance going in the relationship. Because sometimes we fail on that part as well, that we get so entwined with our work and our business that we forget to actually love the person in the bedroom rather than outside of the bedroom.
Yeah, that's true. It should never just be a chore. Go ahead, Shanti, sorry.
A relationship is often a real teller for how a relationship is doing.
Yes.
Many couples would say, oh, things are okay, and as soon as you get into the bedroom, you would find a different picture, and it's sometimes something that would tell you a different story.
Yeah. It really should never just be open. Go ahead, Sonia.
No, that's I'm trying to get my book to be quiet.
Yeah, sorry, I just realized there's a lot of S's. Sophia, Sonia, and Shanti. So I'm getting mixed up with my S's. So, Sophia, go ahead. You were saying something.
Yeah, it's about also understanding what each partner wants in the bedroom as well. Because sometimes we're very shy away without actually expressing ourselves on our needs. It could just be a hug or just a kiss, but we find it really hard to communicate that. And sometimes when you do find that really hard to communicate, it actually breaks down the relationship outside again, because you're not being able to open up and share with your partner, this is what I actually like, and this is what I don't actually like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that can actually lead to divorce because of that as well.
Yeah. When it comes to the bedroom, especially from the man's perspective, no man wants to feel less than, and a woman could build him or break him with her mouth by saying and not saying. So if you decide that you're not saying, he doesn't even know if what he's doing is working or not. He doesn't know if you're enjoying it or not. And then sometimes you end up saying negative things to him. Oh Lord, that hurting me. You have to do it so when you, sorry, that's the Trini twang. Yeah. Instead of saying, baby, why don't you try touching here? Or you understand? But many times we find it difficult to even attempt to have that sort of conversation because we're not totally naked and not ashamed. We're not at that level. We say that we're married for 20 years, we're married for 15 years, but still you feel in front of your spouse. And if you're feeling uncomfortable in front of your spouse for all that length of time, it means there's certain conversations that you all are not having.
That's profound.
I always advise my clients to actually put on a different persona. Become somebody that you want to be.
Stella, get her groove back.
Yeah. So when you become somebody else,
yeah,
then you can be free to say and behave as you please.
Yes.
That way it's acceptable to, because you've got on this persona. And your partner can also put on a persona to say he's this person. Then you can role play out who you want to be. It then takes out the element of embarrassment. It takes out the element of shyness. And you just feel, well, I can be free to be who I want.
Yes.
Then you actually develop to be yourself.
Yeah.
So the persona is then left and then you become you.
Yes.
And that's what I think is great about when you go through a plan that I always do with clients, is to go through that process with them. And they find that they develop themselves more because they've been able to come out and be somebody that they're not actually.
Yes.
And pretending to be. And it just breaks all.
Oh, you know. Yes.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, you're back.
Wait. You stopped at break. What did you say after that?
Sorry?
What after you said breaks all? Did you hear what you said after?
No,
we lost you after breaks all. You can't remember.
No, because the mic is going really funny on this.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Shanti, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think to look at strategies in that area. I think shame is one of the strategies that could possibly be fighting. And shame could come from anything. It can come from a really heavily rigid Christian background or some other religious background. It can come from all of those things. It can be quite complex.
Yes.
what I would really advise people listening, people who want to improve their relationship, is if you try self-help techniques and if they don't work, you need to go to someone who help you along the journey. And it's not as easy really as just thinking, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And I think good ideas are good and you can try it, but sometimes you need somebody to hold your hands and walk along with you, because you're
absolutely
different people. And I think with the emotions of shame and so on, somebody like yourself, SG Consultancy, would be, I guess, really happy to walk along with you for looking at sexual problems and things. And I think it's a good idea for couples to tap into resources.
And I mean, one of the nice thing is, just as Sonia said about how we met, with the internet now, the world is such a closer unit, a smaller place. So people anywhere in the world could access people like Shanti, access people like Sophia and myself, and get the information that they need and the training. Of course, we know that there are specialists all over the world, but it's just getting with people that you feel comfortable enough to be open with. One of the worst things to happen is for you to spend your money, go to someone who could really support you and not be open and honest with them, so that they are giving you the wrong information because they don't know the whole story. And that happens a lot of times because people go in with the shame and the embarrassment from the background. And so they say as little as they can and pretend that they're saying everything until sometimes things get worse before it gets better. And then some people crack and start to share everything. Well, hopefully you get to that point. But I'm just saying that the opportunity is there for people to just tap in. Plus, there's so much free information online as well. So start with some self-help stuff if you don't have the finances to do more than that. But start somewhere. Your relationship is your responsibility. It's not your spouse's responsibility. It's your responsibility for you to do your part. Your spouse will do their part and you have to do yours. And if they're not doing their part, then it's up to you to encourage them to have a conversation and to find out what is the issue, why are you along, why are some of these things happening. And if you find that out sooner rather than later, it will stop you having a lot of major issues down the line, like people having affairs and people becoming more aggressive, emotionally abusive, and those sort of things. So you want to sorry, go ahead.
Stonewalling. We're going to talk a little bit about stonewalling in my honey.
Yes,
Stonewalling. The idea of just I'm just going to be silent and hope that this all goes away.
Yes,
that it wouldn't work.
Guys, I want to thank you all so much for coming on. Is there any more comments? No, that's it. So let me just share a little bit more about the event for those who are in the UK and for those who came on late. So it's on July the 9th, and we're having an all-day event. And what you've heard here is really drop in the ocean. I'll use Sonia's phrase, a pinky bit about what we'll be speaking about, and just not just discussing, but we want to have it in a more fun, interactive way so that people could come away feeling like you haven't been spoken down to. You've been in an environment where you were immersed in growing, in taking yourself and your relationship to the next level. And that's what we're striving to do at the My Honey and Money event. July the 9th, it would be at the London Intercontinental Hotel. But you'll have to, if you want to get the early bird special, you'll have to register before. And you could go to www.myhoneyandmoney.com. I'll type it in the chat as well. Or can you type it? Maybe, please, thanks. Yeah. And if you go there and you register because you've seen this blab, we'll be willing to do something even extra special for you. So once you register, then drop me a line. It's nova@thewisewife.com. Tell me you were on the blab or you saw the blab replay, and I would let you know what special we'll be doing for you on the day of the event. But we really look forward to just, helping people in as best a way as we can. For all that, one day is a short time in the grand scheme of life, but I know you would leave feeling much more empowered, much more knowledgeable, and really on fire, because we'll not just be telling you the what, we'll also be giving you some hows so that you could put things into practice and not just go away with head knowledge. Shanti or Sonia, do you want to say anything else? Or
Yeah, real quick, and then I'm going to jump off because my two people are needing my attention.
yeah,
But something that you guys were talking about a little bit back when you were talking about your own relationship, and then Shanti said something that sparked my brain. Years ago, I read Watchman Nee, The Normal Christian Life, and Sit, Walk, Stand, and it flipped something inside my brain about what it is to be a Christian and to be able to recover quickly. Not that Christians don't stumble or fall, but that when you're walking in close relationship with God, you can get right back up again. And as I'm listening to you guys and watching the way, even just the way you guys are with each other, just physically, it's so beautiful. And I can see that picture of, it's almost like you guys are, it's going to be like the Watchman Nee for the normal marriage, like how do you get to the place in your marriage where, yes, you still have conflict, you still have little struggles, but it becomes smaller and it becomes a blip instead of a big thing, because you know how to handle it correctly, because your tools are more powerful and you've come to that place where you've put the work in. And this kind of a course, that is gold. I mean, to put that in to your marriage, you get to that place where you can walk that out that way, and that's beautiful. And thank you for having me on. I'm going to jump off and listen to the rest.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Yeah. Shanti,
I think,
what you said.
Sonia is absolutely right. It is not about that this thing happens naturally. And my husband and I, it doesn't happen naturally. You have to work on it to get some kind of fruit, for it to be for the long haul, for it to be beautiful, for it to be something that you can come home to and be comforted by, something that would hold you when you're feeling sad or you have any negative emotion. It's something that you have to work on. And I think this myth that somehow your relationship, you get married, you be in love, and somehow this would
self-sustaining.
And yes, it is a bit of a myth. To get to a relationship of your quality, you have to be working on it. You have to look at coping strategies. You have to look at what other resources can we draw on. And in couples therapy, and what you're going to do with My Honey and Money, is about giving people resources to get into.
Absolutely.
That's what happens with conflict. When couples try to resolve conflict, they use the resources that they have, and then it comes to an end. And that's when the swearing starts and things nothing to draw on.
Yes.
This is about equipping people to draw on different resources.
Yeah.
This is like, I know the content, a little bit about the content of your course. So resources like Chapman's 5 love languages and how to do that, how to get to know them. You'll be talking in detail about that.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited for that, but I'm really excited that people come and listen and get the resources from that.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, one of the other things that we'll be touching on as well is one of the first book I wrote, which is called the Wise Wife Manifesto. But it's also the same tool could be used for husband. You could use it as the Wise Husband Manifesto, because it's looking at 15 key areas that you must address in your relationship and as an individual, if you want to live a fulfilled life and have the sort of relationship that lasts for a lifetime. What people need to understand is that marriage is the only thing that we get into that we say it's for life. When you get pregnant and you give birth, you're more or less committing yourself to at least 18 years. 18 years of grooming this child, and I think it goes mostly up to 25, yeah? But when you go into a marriage, you say, I want to stay in this for life. And in order for you to stay in it for life and for it to last, you have to be willing to put in the time. You have to be willing to invest in your marriage financially as well. And it's not just reading one book or attending one seminar, because your relationship continues to grow and evolve with time. And as you all grow, and it's almost like when you develop in one area, the other things that come up is like people who they were born into poverty and they started making money. New challenges come up with the more money that they have, and so they need to continue to learn and grow. It's the same thing in relationship.
Absolutely.
It's like fine wine. It should be like fine wine, but sadly, a lot of times relationships get stale and old with time, more like molding bread that is left out, when it could be, as I said, fine wine that gets better, matures over time, because you've put it in the right environment. You've really spent time making sure that you nurture it, and you get to know your mate in such a way that you are both, as we said before, naked and totally not ashamed. And we want to really help people to feel like that and be on their way to just up-leveling their relationship day in, day out, by them coming to the My Honey and Money Marriage Seminar. So if you're in the UK, I would say go to myhoneyandmoney.com, and yeah, you could read all about it if you want more information, or just register for as an individual, or it's better if you come as a couple. If your spouse can't make it, then yes, you alone come, but it's better if both of you all come, so that you know that you're on the same page, you're working together. You don't have to go and give secondhand information, trying to explain everything to him or her, and not being able to in the way that they would get it in the environment and the things that you all could do together at the event.
So just to say that for anyone who's been eagle-eyed, I've just typed in myhomieandmoney.com. I've just changed that. It should be myhoneyandmoney.com. You're still my homie, but you're more my honey.
Yeah, right. Shanti, anything before we close?
Hi, I would just encourage the audience to come along and to benefit from your wealth of knowledge and from the content of the course. I think the content of the course far exceeds just a day's worth of information. It's a lot of information, but really valuable information for people to go out and start equipping themselves for a more confident marriage and a more fulfilling relationship. So I would really encourage people to do that.
Cool. Vanessa, do you want to type anything? And just to let people know that Vanessa would be there on the day as part of the support team, and Shanti and her husband as well would be doing their part as well to help empower couples, and My Honey will be there as well. Yeah, so we just look forward to the day, July the 9th, and we'll see. Awesome. There are a few people who said they would make it on the blab and they didn't. We'll see if we should do one or two again. I enjoyed this, so maybe I might be tempted to do a few more. Hey, my husband said yeah, so I think it's on. Yeah, because this is his first blab, and if he's saying yeah. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
I can't see Vanessa type in anything. Oh yes, and Sophia, thanks so much for joining, and Sonia, Vanessa. Thanks so much. Yeah, and for those who stayed to the end, Joy, and there's somebody else. Yeah. I can't see the other person name.
And Asil.
Asil, yeah. Thank you all so much, and all the best. We'll speak to you all again soon, and look forward to seeing all those who can make it on July the 9th. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.